Police make an arrest in the murder of a 7-year-old girl. The charges the suspect now faces.
Investigators are trying to figure out what started a fire here in Frankfort that killed a 2-year-old and critically injured 2 other people.
A threat is made at a Southern Kentucky high school, but school officials say there was never a concern of safety being at risk.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon. Police have made an arrest in the murder of a 7-year-old girl.
Gabriella Doolin disappeared during her brother's youth football game at Allen County Scottsville High School last Saturday. An hour later, police found her body in a creek behind the school. State police held a news conference late this afternoon to release new details in the case. WKYT's Jennifer Palumbo is at the live desk with our top story at 5. Jennifer.
Amber State Police announced the arrest of Timothy Madden. He's charged with murder, kidnapping, rape, and sodomy in the killing of Gabby Doolin. This is new video of Madden, who's now being processed at the Allen County Jail. We're learning new details about the 38-year-old suspect. He's from Scottsville and was at Allen County Scottsville High School at the same time as Gabby Doolin's father, Brian.
It is an ongoing investigation. No other details can be released at this time in reference to this investigation. We just ask that your thoughts and your prayers continue for the Doolin family.
The commander for the Kentucky State Police Post 3 thanked his investigators along with the Allen County Sheriff's Department and Scottsville Police Department for working around the clock to make an arrest. Earlier today, Gabby Doolin's father, Brian, posted a message on Facebook saying, in his words, "Please, Justice, take over for my baby. I love her so much. This animal should not be walking and breathing." At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
Jennifer, thank you. After Madden is processed at the Allen County Jail, he'll then be taken to Barron County.
A 2-year-old child has been identified as the victim of an overnight house fire. The young boy's mother and sister were badly injured when their apartment on Shinkle Lane caught fire about 1 a.m. WKYT's Monique Blair shows us the fire left dozens of people without a home as well.
The Franklin County coroner tells us 2-year-old Demetrius Johnson suffered smoke inhalation and as a result died from this fire here at the Country Hills apartment complex. We're also told 2 of Johnson's family members suffered critical injuries also as a result of this fire. A GoFundMe page set up for Demetrius Johnson's family only 4 hours ago has raised more than $5,000. The page creator says Johnson's mother Whitney and 1-month-old sister Nyla were the 2 family members who suffered critical injuries. According to the page, Whitney and Nyla are fighting for their lives right now. Robin Phillips lives below the apartment where Demetrius Johnson lived. She says she watched as emergency crews worked hard to save the little boy's life. Phillips also says she doesn't know if she'd be here right now if it wasn't for a stranger who banged on her door to alert her to the fire.
I opened up the door and there stood a 15, 16-year-old girl, which I'd like to know who this girl is, because I owe her thank you for saving our lives.
A social worker with the American Red Cross tells me about 27 people were displaced as a result of this fire, and she says they will be out long term because she is told there was structural damage to this entire building. In Franklin County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Investigators say it could take up to 10 days before they know what caused the fire.
Investigators have declared a Southern Kentucky high school safe following a threat. It started yesterday when officials say a student talked about bringing a weapon to Knox Central High School in Barbourville. As WKYT's Phil Pendleton shows us, officials say the real problems began when rumors started spreading on social media.
It started Thursday in the school cafeteria when one student overheard another making a threatening statement.
On Thursday, we received a report of a student that supposedly made a comment that he was bringing a weapon to school on Friday.
School administrators investigated, but they say there was no threat to student safety. But on social media overnight,
a hit list of sorts was mentioned. Like I said, that was never the case.
All the students were given a letter to be given to their parents today, which basically stated that parents are being encouraged to talk to their children about the seriousness of these threats. School officials say that Knox Central High School will not tolerate any threats of any kind, and even the smallest threat will be investigated thoroughly.
You know, for parents, we encourage them, if you have questions, give us a call here at the school. You know, don't take your concerns immediately to Facebook until you fully understand.
No extra security was called in, and officials say it was a normal day on Friday.
You know, for parents, we encourage them, if you have questions, give us a call here at the school. You know, don't take your concerns immediately to Facebook until you fully understand.
School officials would not release the age or the grade of the student who made the threat. In Knox County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Barberville police are investigating the threat. They say the student who was not charged was not at school today. They say he has been the recent victim of bullying, and they also claim he would not have had the means to carry out the threats he made. We are ending the work week on a pleasant note, but a blast of winter is on the way.
It is. WKYT's chief meteorologist Chris Bailey's here with a forecast that includes perhaps some snowflakes.
Yeah, first of the season, likely to be flying at roughly this time, if not an hour or two later, as we go into our Saturday afternoon and evening as a strong cold front blows into the Bluegrass State. That same storm system with a snowstorm on the northern side of that heading toward the windy city of Chicago, Detroit. Several inches of snow from this as well, maybe one of the bigger snowstorms those two cities have had so early in the season. It's bringing healthy snows right now to parts of Iowa. A little bit of rain out ahead of that already toward the St. Louis area, but notice how in Kentucky we're just getting in on some higher clouds, especially across the northern parts of the area. That's setting the stage for a picture-perfect sunset out there as temperatures already dropping quickly through the 40s. Humidity levels are way down there. Winds out of the northeast beginning to settle down just a little bit. Watch those 30s show up here in just an hour or two where you live. As we take a look ahead, we do have a touch of winter weather that will be in that Saturday afternoon and evening forecast as well, as the coldest air of the season comes in behind that front as we wrap up that weekend. We'll talk about that and the all-important Thanksgiving week forecast when I get back in about 5 minutes.
A third person has been arrested in a 4-year-old murder case. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Montgomery County, where Natasha Martin is charged with murder and robbery in the death of Paul Brewer. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office picked Martin up last night. Police arrested Cody Hall and Nikki Miller in the case last week. Martin will be arraigned on Monday. A man admits he played a role in an attempted robbery. Curtis Wilkerson pled guilty to facilitation to commit robbery and burglary for a holdup at the 96 truck stop in Clark County last year. Wilkerson said he knew Devin Marshall planned to rob the truck stop when they went inside that morning. The owner shot Marshall. He died 2 days later. Wilkerson also admitted he was with Marshall when Marshall robbed a taxi driver the night before. The Winchester Sun reports Wilkerson will be sentenced on January 7th.
The basketball Wildcats return to the court tonight. Coach John Calipari isn't just looking for a win. He's also keeping a close eye on how his players are performing. WKYT's Rob Bromley is live for us at Rupp Arena to show us what Cal is looking for. Hi, Rob.
Hello, Amber, and hello, Sam. And Kentucky back home on this Friday evening to play the Raiders of Wright State. And the Cats, of course, coming off that victory over Duke, a game in which they were very, very impressive on Tuesday night up in Chicago. Now, John Calipari has his starting lineup. He's bringing Alex Poitras off the bench, and freshman Isaac Humphrey comes in. He played well against Duke, but Cal says he needs one more player to come off the bench and be consistent.
We've got to get somebody that's going to be consistent off that bench. Derek, Charles, Dom, Michael, somebody consistent that we know what we're getting. And it's not shots. It's not that. It's, someone that can go in and defend and rebound, make an open shot, but you don't have to create, finish, we got to find that guy.
Kentucky and Wright State tonight. It does not tip off until 8 o'clock, and the game is on the SEC Network. Coming up in the next half hour, Cal talks about Alex Poitras and how did he ever get his teeth caught in that netting on a Tuesday night up in Chicago. That's coming up in sports in the next half hour. For now, Amber, Sam, that's it from here in Rupp Arena. Back to you.
All right, Rob, thanks so much. The Cats are home for 2 straight. They play Boston University Tuesday night. So look at the most viewed stories on our website right now. People want to know more about Governor-elect Matt Bevin calling a Herald Leader cartoon featuring his children racist, an arrest in the death of a 7-year-old girl, and an arrest in Floyd County. You can find those stories and more on WKYT.com. A deadly hostage crisis at a hotel in Mali is over after armed Islamic terrorists killed as many as 27 people.
At least 170 people were taken hostage. Some of them were Americans. Craig Boswell is tracking the situation from Washington, D.C.
Bystanders applauded Mali troops who helped end a standoff at a hotel in the country's capital. Islamic extremists armed with guns and grenades stormed the Radisson Blu Hotel. Witnesses say the men shouted "God is great" in Arabic during their assault and spoke in both French and English. At least 170 people were taken hostage. Security forces went door to door and led dozens to safety. CBS News has learned as many as 14 of the hostages were American. President Obama was asked about the siege during a meeting in Malaysia.
We're monitoring the situation.
22 U.S. Department of Defense employees in the city are all safe. 5 were at the hotel at the time of the attack.
French soldiers and some U.S. Special Forces helped in the operation. The upscale hotel is popular with foreigners. Employees with Air France and Turkish Airlines were staying there. 2 terror groups with ties to Al-Qaeda are claiming responsibility for the deadly siege. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the State Department.
Al-Qaeda-linked extremists took over Mali in 2012. France launched a military intervention in 2013, and thousands of French soldiers remain in that country. Today marking 1 week since deadly terrorist attacks rocked Paris, the people of Paris paused to pay tribute to those killed. The toll climbed to 130 today after one of those wounded died. Many people who live in Paris worry the attacks are not over.
I think it is not finished because one action, make one action and again and again and again.
The manhunt continues for one of the suspects, Salah Abdeslam. Investigators think he could be in the Netherlands.
A man admits he landed a gyrocopter on the U.S. Capitol lawn. Douglas Hughes pled guilty to operating a gyrocopter without a license. His attorney says prosecutors have agreed not to ask for more than 10 months in prison. Back in April, shortly after the incident happened, Hughes said he did it as a political protest. E. coli linked to Chipotle has been found in 3 more states. The Centers for Disease Control says new cases have been reported in California, New York, and Ohio. Cases were already reported in Minnesota, Oregon, and Washington. The investigation to determine the specific food it's linked to is still ongoing.
Students from Fayette and Woodford County joining forces to fight obesity through technology. It's called the In-Body Machine 230. Students use the device to measure body composition, muscle fat, and obesity diagnosis. And information from the machine gives individualized plans to help the students and staff become fit and more active.
I feel good because it's something that I can be a part of, I've been a part of, and it just makes me feel good that I've made a change to my school.
Students say their goal is to get physically fit between now and April.